Yes, so we had a short statement previously yesterday from Lord Geidt. Now we've got the full letter. I'm literally reading this for the first time. But I think if you go towards the sort of fourth paragraph, he says, "This week, however, I was tasked to offer a view about the government's intention to consider measures which risk a deliberate and purposeful breach of the ministerial code. This request has placed me in an impossible and odious position. My informal response on Monday was that you and any other minister should justify opening your position vis-à-vis the code in such circumstances. However, the idea that a Prime Minister might to any degree be in the business of deliberately breaching his own code is an affront. A deliberate breach or even an intention to do so would be to suspend the provisions of the code to suit a political end. This would make a mockery not only of the respect of the code, but license a suspension of its provisions in governing the conduct of Her Majesty's ministers. I can have no part in this." So just reading this now, but I think that makes clear that he felt the Prime Minister, he said, a deliberate and purposeful breach of the ministerial code. There was a risk of that from what he was tasked with doing. And this would make a mockery, he says, not only of respect for the code, but license a suspension of its provisions in governing Her Majesty's ministers. I can have no part in this. So clearly he felt he was being asked to do something that he thought breached the minister's code. He, of course, was the ethics advisor, their second ethics advisor that Boris Johnson has lost. There were questions swirling before we had this letter today about why he had decided to go. He was before MPs earlier this week. And now he has written this letter. When he was before MPs, he said that he felt this was a blunt tool, resigning, one of the only tools left to an ethics advisor. But now he has decided that this is the moment to go. And that is, I think, a very strongly worded letter from a supposedly mild-mannered man. He says that it would make a mockery of the ministerial code. And worth saying, I've also just been given a response from Boris Johnson, who said that he is sorry to receive the letter of resignation yesterday, thanks him for his service. He said that on Monday he'd said that he was content to remain till the end of the year. So this letter has come as a surprise, the Prime Minister says. And then he goes on at the end to say that he's carried out his duties admirably. But he also says that when he says he was put in an impossible position regarding my seeking of your advice on potential future decisions related to the Trade Remedies Authority. So this is clearly what this issue has been about. And worth saying, this morning, Dominic Raab had said that there had been a commercially sensitive matter in the national interest. And clearly this has been the straw that has broken the camel's back and led to Lord Geidt resigning. So we have the full letter. I think from what we've seen so far, it is pretty strongly worded, clear that this was him feeling he couldn't carry on in his role given what was happening in government. Earlier today, William Ragg quoted Oscar Wilde saying that to lose one ethics advisor might be deemed a misfortune, to lose two looks like carelessness. And I think that quote might be echoed over Parliament today. MPs I spoke to yesterday thought that the timing and nature of this short statement meant that it wouldn't shift the dial necessarily, but this letter is pretty strongly worded. Yeah. Could this shift the dial for some MPs on the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson?